Ooh, it's got some nice moogles. Oh, hey! Didn't see you there. I was just revisiting one of the first games I bought for the PlayStation 2, Final Fantasy X. This was one of my favorite games back in the day, but let's see how it holds up today. Roll the footage. Final Fantasy X's story revolves around a blitzball player named Tidus. His hometown of Zanarkand is attacked by a creature called Sin, and Tidus somehow gets thrown 1,000 years into the future. It's there that he meets Yuna, a young summoner on a pilgrimage to defeat the same Sin that brought him there. They must travel to the various temples throughout Spira, and eventually acquire the final Aeon, which is the only way to destroy the giant monster that has been terrorizing the land. I enjoyed the story, although at times it seemed like the writing or localization could have been a little bit better. The story was also hampered a bit by some of the voice acting. While most of the actors did fine, Yuna sounds like William Shatner's asthmatic sister. There's so many weird pauses and unnecessary breathing in her lines. I know she was trying to match Yuna's movements on screen, but I would have preferred a more natural sounding delivery rather than a properly synced one. Square has always been able to pump out impressive graphics for whatever console they're developing for, and this game is no exception. All the environments are nicely detailed and quite colorful, and there are some outstanding lighting effects as well. Really quite amazing for such an early PS2 release. Of course, the CG cutscenes are gorgeous as always. The character models look really nice as well, but it's annoying that they sometimes use lower res models for some of them. This is understandable for NPCs as they are not that important, but I found the game does this with your party too. Sometimes they even mix lower res party members with higher res party members in the same cutscene, and it can be a little odd. The combat in this game is outstanding and the best in the series in my opinion. They scrapped the active time battles of previous entries and instead opted for a conditional turn-based system. This resulted in a fast-paced system that still allowed you to take extra time if you need it. There are some other nice touches like being able to swap characters mid-battle and use summons as playable characters. Limit breaks return once again, and this time they are called overdrives. One thing I really liked about them was how you could choose to fill your gauge. You can set it to charge when allies take damage, when you heal a party member, when you slay an enemy, and more. Really nothing to complain about with the battle system. The sphere grid seems kind of cool at first, but you'll soon realize that it only gives you the illusion of building characters the way you want. Each party member is locked into their own section of the grid, until locked spheres become available later on. Then the grid starts to open up and you have the freedom to build them the way you want. This wasn't a problem with the international version of the game though, which was not released in North America. Apparently international means not America. The controls in this game are good for the most part. One thing I didn't like though was how jerky the character movement was at times when changing direction. It seems like Final Fantasy 8 and 9 had much smoother analog controls. It's a minor annoyance, although it does make a couple of the game's side quests a little more challenging. Nobuo Uematsu shared the musical duties with 2 other composers this time. The soundtrack was still very enjoyable though, with many memorable songs throughout. Loved the little metal tune at the start of the game, and also really enjoyed Wandering. Something I don't enjoy about Final Fantasy X is the linearity of the adventure. The traditional world map is gone, and your party just travels on a predetermined path with very little exploration. Even later on when you get the airship, you still don't get to explore freely, but instead just choose from a map menu. Final Fantasy X is a great RPG, and for many, it's the last good game in the series. You can find this dirt cheap on the PS2, or you can pick up the HD remasters on PS3, PS4, and the Vita. Definitely recommend giving it a try. And that will do it for this one. As always, I want to thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Stay away from the summoner! Stay away from the summoner! Stay away from the summoner!